Wow, 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 wow. Everybody gets a Red Bull. You found this. I don't know how you found this because I came down 3 different times and went to 2 different venues before I actually figured out where I was talking. In fact, this morning I woke up, I didn't even know I was going to be talking, so hi. It's like a 12-step program, really, isn't it? My name is Ben. It's been 6 months since my last convention. Does anyone want to tell a story? So let's see, it's been 2 years since the last time I was here. 3 years? Yeah, now the last time I was in the UK was 2010, which was my year of cancer, which my father died of cancer, my manager died of cancer, then my wife Francesca was diagnosed with breast cancer. She's fine, she's in remission, so, you know, word of warning to all of you. You don't have to be over 50, so, you know, be careful, stay healthy, and do all that stuff. And then the last time I was in the UK was 3 months ago, and I was doing an episode of Doctor Who. Yeah, I was completely stoked. We came in the middle of pilot season, which is the worst time for an actor to leave LA, because that's when they cast all of the series. And my agent said, you know, we got an offer, and I don't know that you really should go do this because it's in the middle of pilot season. I said, well, what is it? I said, Doctor Who. There's no way I could miss that opportunity. So I got to go to Spain. I got to hold the doctor's hand, you know. I got to see the TARDIS. And I said, yeah, don't be jealous. I actually have a tiny little TARDIS at home, which is signed by Russell T. Davies. Yeah, it's the advantage of really being in the know geek. I get the really, really cool stuff. I was sitting backstage, I got to watch John Simmons. The master, cool. I'm just going to sit over here and geek out a little bit. I won't look at him too much. He'd look at me like, what are you looking at me for? Anyway, and that's what the mustache is for those of you who haven't found out. I grew the mustache for my episode of Doctor Who, and I liked it, and my wife hated it so much I had to keep it.
If I don't have to.
Just establishing my manhood. Anyway, thanks for coming. How much time do we have? We have half an hour, so let's go ahead and go to questions. Anyone who has a question, I'll do my best to answer it.
This is going to sound bad when
this yellow color is really good. It's kind of like you got an ice cream cone.
I'm another.
Hi, Doris.
Nobody left unshadowed.
After there's only 2 of us, okay if I ask a couple of questions?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, the first
You have to go to the back of the line.
First question.
Yeah.
Money no object. Any talent that you want. Story as a writer would you want to tell? Would it be science fiction? Would it be a modern day tale? Would it be a period piece? What kind of story?
I would like to tell an epic history / sci-fi piece.
Okay.
Along the lines of what Neil Stephenson does with Baroque Cycle. I just think that, you know, if you haven't read Neil Stephenson's Baroque Cycle, these 3 massive books are all about 1,400 pages long. But it's set in this, basically during the Baroque period when Sir Isaac Newton in that period of time, and it's set in England and America and in the Far East and all around the world. But it's just really cool interwoven story that also has these kind of semi-science fiction fantastical elements about it. So I'd like to do something like that. I don't know if there's an audience for that, but since I have all the money and all the talent that I need, it doesn't matter whether I need the audience. So it'd be for me and my, 6 or 7 best friends.
Second question, and this might be taxing your memory. In the premiere of Farscape, when John first lands on Moya and he gets out of the shuttle, the DID squirts him with something in one scene, and in the very next scene, he's still walking. What was it that he squirted?
The first thing that was squirted in that sequence was glue on the floor, which then he stuck to the floor. Then they hit him with a net. But in the editing, the premiere ran long, so they got kind of cut down. And I can't remember whether he had the net on him when he was pulled into... So the DRDs fired this net that netted Crichton, and then they pulled him into command. And then I think when we actually got to the final edit, they just made it so that it looked like the DRDs were shooting like little lasers at him, and I'm doing that. And we literally did this scene where I'm going down the corridor in this net with the DRD hauling me. And then the net comes off, I go into the command and hi, I'm John Crichton.
Thank you.
Yeah.
This is another Farscape one.
Sure.
I'm wondering, are there any other characters on Moya that you wish Crichton had had more interaction with? I've always thought Zara, maybe.
I was having a parse interaction. Less to do with Dargo, more to do with Gianna. No, I mean, the great thing about being Crichton was I got to interact with everybody, sort of, I had a lot with Aaron, and, no, I think Crichton got his fair share of everybody, if you know what I mean.
Can I do another?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. I remember in an interview you once described Farscape as being like Doctor Who on crack.
Did I say that?
You did, and I was wondering, having now filmed a Doctor Who episode, do you stand by that?
Yes.
And how does filming compare?
You know what? That was kind of the cool thing. It had that sort of Farscape-esque feel about it. We were on location and everybody was kind of mucking in, and Matt Smith was on set all day long. He never left set, which reminded me of when I was working on Farscape. And I actually pointed it out to him, and he said, "Yeah, it's just because we don't have trailers here." Oh, well, anyway, it's great. But Matt drives the engine. He's done a good job. He's there. He's constantly massaging the script, talking with the directors, keeping it true to sort of how he sees the Doctor, and I think he does a really great job of that. The supporting cast, they're like, the other thing that happens on a show, and this similarity, is that the core cast becomes this insular group. It's kind of like the in-group at school that never talks to anybody else. So when you show up, you realize they know each other really, really well. So half of the dialogue is in code. The half the things they say, they're constantly singing these refrains of songs that where did that come from? But they all know the words and no one else does. They become a very tight and insular group, and I realize looking back that anyone who came on the Farscape or even Stargate, that when a core cast is so close because you spend all these hours together, they become immediately like a little family. Yeah, and at one point I was riding home with them, and I was in the front seat. It was more on location, and they're in the back seat, and they've been working all day long, and they're still just jabbing in each other's ears, talking about this and that, and and I understood about maybe a quarter of what they're talking about because they don't know each other. And finally, I just turned around and said, "You guys have spent way too much time with each other," and they go, "Wow, you're right." So Farscape was very much, I think, still like Doctor Who on crack. We just went. I think Doctor Who goes there gently, and Farscape kind of went there and then went through the wall and then splatted on the other side. Yeah, like a car wreck, but a beautiful car wreck with Muppets.
Hi. It's basically a question with a lot of questions in it.
Right.
Is that me?
No, that's probably me.
And it's kind of an age of remakes and stuff. What remake would you like to be part of? What part would you play, and would be either your adversary or your co-player, whatever?
Ooh, what remake? I'd like to remake Run Silent, Run Deep and do it in space.
Ooh.
Because it's basically Moby Dick in space.
Yeah.
But I think submarine movies are really cool. There's never been a submarine movie that's lost money. And I think I could see Run Silent, Run Deep in space, and I'd want to be like the honorary captain that's chasing Moby Dick around the universe. Or in the case of Run Silent, Run Deep, chasing the Japanese submarine, but set it in space and just go one step beyond. I think a submarine movie would be really cool. I would love to do a Western. I'm ready to do that now. Or a Victorian period piece. I'd like to be in one of the states that they put them on as masterpiece classics. Masterpiece theater on public television, but basically all the period BBC dramas. I want to wander around one of those Edwardian houses, and be the upstart American that nobody wants to talk to. Oh, not him again.
Do you keep in contact with like your classmates from Farscape and Stargate? You say you're like a family, so I assume you do, but Claude seems to have dropped off the radar lately, and we're just, I don't know, just wondering if they're still around. And
like, who specifically are we looking for? We're going to give it home.
I just wonder if you still see that coming later.
So who do I see? I see Mike Shanks occasionally. He's bopping around LA. I saw Claudia 2 weeks ago. She looks lovely. I saw Gigi Edgley down in Australia. Talked to Wayne about a month or two ago. Chris, I just saw 5 minutes ago. But I actually see Chris around LA as well. I saw Richard D. Anderson at a Staples buying notebooks and paper and printer ink. Yeah, I've actually seen Rick turning at the entrance to the street I live on, going right on red when he wasn't supposed to. Amanda I haven't seen lately, but yeah, I see folks occasionally, and it was one of the great things about these events is that inevitably I get to, if I don't get to see someone that I've worked with, I get to see John Sims, who I haven't worked with, but I go, oh wow, it's John Sims. I was sitting across from Carl Urban at lunch, I didn't say anything. Just, surreptitiously take a peek. Oh man, it's Bones.
And do you have...
Is that too geeky of me, really?
We all do that.
I mean, look, I got to meet Tom Skerritt. Are you kidding me? I'm like going, it's Tom Skerritt. He did MASH. Who's Alien? I love that man. I love you. I'm so nervous. Yeah, I'm the same way. You're welcome. Next.
In the episode of Farscape where you were swapping bodies with different members of the cast because of that laser beam, which particular character did you enjoy playing the most, and which character did you wish you had a chance to play?
I think Rigel was the most fun. I played Rigel. Who else did I play? I played Aaron, yeah. Yeah, but I didn't get to do as much with Aaron as I wanted to. Oh no, Aaron played... I didn't play Aaron, Aaron played me. Claude played me, and it's bad. I don't know if I got a chance to do Aaron. That'd have been particularly weird. But yeah, the Rigel stuff was fun because Rigel's so horrible you can do anything. So you can stick your fingers up your nose and, it's not in the script. Just try, get up there and see what it's like. So yeah, Rigel was fun. Yeah.
I just wondered, you played like two iconic roles in science fiction genres. If there's any film or drama role that you would like, which character would that be in the history of film?
In any film?
Yeah, any film that you've grown up with, any character that you could play.
Yeah, I don't know. And it changes because I've gotten older. You know, if you'd asked me, 10 years ago, it was basically any part that Harrison Ford played in his prime. Those roles were great, and actually, as I've gotten older, I sort of look back. I look at the work of Humphrey Bogart and the noir stuff. Really, really cool stuff. I've been watching a lot of his stuff lately. The film noir and this sort of old-style guys, which you don't see on film as much anymore. I think we could use more of that. Just a little more restraint. A little more mature. They pop the Spencer Tracys of the world, the Humphrey Bogarts of the world, the Henry Fonda in his prime, Jimmy Stewart as he got older. Goodness me, even John Wayne. Those roles, I think, have kind of disappeared from film and television. I think we need more of those. There are actors that have that weight, but you don't see them that often. What you see more often is you get sort of either really young, pretty-looking guys, or you get guys that are pretty flamboyant, but the sort of solid, classic leading man, which populated cinema from basically the 30s through the 60s, has kind of gone away in the 80s, 90s, and the 2000s. I'd like to see a return to those kinds of roles.
Hello Ben. I've got two questions, if that's all right. First one, I mean absolutely no disrespect by this, but the mustache, was it inspired by someone or?
Inspired by someone. It grew on my face, man. If you don't cut it, it grows. Where did you get this inspiration?
Again, I think it was the same as you, laziness.
Yeah, well, it wasn't laziness. It takes, a little cultivation on this one. A little Miracle Grow. No, I grew it for the episode of Doctor Who because they wanted a really kind of rough Western look. They wanted everybody to be really kind of rough around the edges and dirty, at least from my part of the episode. So I started it there, and then I just looked at it one day in the mirror, and I said, do I cut it or not? And I decided to keep it for a while.
Cool. Well, I'm a fan of facial hair.
Well, look, there's that other thing that happens in Hollywood. How many guys have, a beard which is just that long, and they all wear it, and it becomes like a uniform. So I guess I'm just being contrary.
Cool. And my other question, slightly more serious, at the very end of Farscape, they obviously decided to kill off Dargo. Do you know why the writers decided that, and how did it make you feel seeing as you're seeing a character you've worked with for all these years suddenly be killed off?
Well, I asked that they kill Crichton off. No, I did. In the miniseries, I said, there has to be a price. There has to be a cost to this. I said, we can't just go blow up an entire planet and get scot-free, so you should kill Crichton. So I went away thinking, we're going to kill Crichton, that'll be the end of the series. I know. It was just an idea. and then, but it was really about the stakes of the story that, how do you go to the end of the story, and emotionally the story felt weak without some cost. And then they chose Dargo, and I went, no! Did you kill somebody else off? Kill Crichton! Yeah, it was, I think it was necessary for the story. It's one of the things about Farscape is that we actually did kill characters, and they didn't do this sci-fi thing where they come back. Well, even, we killed Crichton a few times, he came back, but Zan never really reappeared, even though the audience got a taste of her in at least one episode that I wrote. But there has to be I think there has to be that kind of stakes with a story if you're going to go there.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. Hi.
Well, since we have talked a lot about Doctor Who, I thought I'd ask the question: which one's your favourite Doctor Who?
That's not really fair. I thought Chris did a great job when he started. You know, getting the show restarted, I think he did a fantastic job. And you know, David's take is so completely different from Chris's take, and yet he carried that show forward for the next 4 years. But my favorite has to be Matt, because I worked with him. And I know Chris, he went to the same drama school I went to, so I'd met him prior to even leaving him, and so I'd followed his career, and he's a great actor. But I think Matt, to be so young, and to, you know, follow David, who had become so quickly an iconic doctor with such a huge following, that's such a task. You know, I kind of relate to it because I had to follow RDA on Stargate. I think it's a huge thing. I mean, you know, anybody, at least in this, within the confines of the UK in particular, if you're going to play Doctor Who, you're going to go there with a massive target painted on your back immediately because of the tradition of the show all the way back, you know, to the early 60s. And I just think Matt does a really good job, especially for such a young actor. Okay, thanks.
Hello, Ian. Apart from don't, what advice would you give to someone wanting to get into the business these days?
Oh, you saw that where I told the person don't. And I thought about that. I had a young lady at a convention once who said, what advice do you have for someone getting into acting? And I said, don't. Don't do it. Don't get into acting. And part of that was because I was also dealing with my own children who were talking about getting into acting. It's a really difficult business. And I think the first response has to be don't, because you have to hear no and then just keep on going. Because what's going to happen in the course of a career as an actor is you're going to be told no so many times. So many times you're going to have rejection, even if you're reasonably successful. I have been told no thousands upon thousands of times. And I have classmates from drama school who, you know, or people I knew that I started out when I started acting, that they get crushed by the no. They just get crushed by it. And it's a sort of, you know, every time you do something, particularly if you do it on television and film, there's the possibility that someone's going to send you a review and you're going to discover that you're nowhere near as good an actor as a puppet. You know, you're going to hear things like, well, Farscape would be great if Ben Browder was better. And you've got to be able to handle that. So, you know, my first advice was no. If you can go beyond no, and you know, don't do this, please don't do this, and you feel you must do it, you have to look around and figure out what makes you different. You either need to go get some training in a way that other people don't. You have to be incredibly lucky, and you have to persevere. You have to be someone who is able to hear the bad things, internalize them, then dismiss them, try to use them, and you know. But ultimately, you know, if you must do it, take a lucky charm with you so that you have enough luck to get at least one decent break, and then hopefully you get another one, and then another one, and then another one, so that by the end of the day you're Tom Skerritt and you've had an incredibly lovely career over a lifetime. So be really lucky.
I plan to be. Thank you.
Yeah, and good luck. Break a leg. Hi.
My question is, through your career, like with Crichton or Cameron Mitchell, with the characters, at any point did you like go home, right, and your company just went, okay, you do realise you're still putting on the character?
You mean, did I go home and my family say you're still acting like Crichton?
Yeah.
I will say, and I won't get specific about this, but I will say that it's certainly, maybe my wife once or twice may have mentioned, you know you're not John Crichton, or you're not Cameron Mitchell, you're not a colonel, sit down and shut up. Maybe even after a conviction. You're not Ben Browder. Clean that toilet. Yeah, no, look, my wife is an actress and she understands that process. But, you know, who I am as an actor, who I am as a character is very different from who I am at home. It has to be. Because at home I'm dad and husband and, you know, layabout. I'm the guy on the couch going, get up! Yeah.
The last question?
This is the last question. Okay.
Okay, I better make it a good one then. What was it like playing Lee Majors, and would you like to play him again?
What was it like playing Lee Majors, and when I play him, would I like to play him again?
Like in like a remake of maybe The Fall Guy or something.
Do the Fall Guy?
Yeah.
That's actually not a bad idea. For those of you who don't know, I played Lee Majors in a TV movie made about the background story of Charlie's Angels. And Tricia Helfer, who's from Battlestar Galactica, you know, with the red dress, played Farrah Fawcett. So, you know, I was married to Tricia Helfer. Oh yeah, you probably haven't heard this. Some of you haven't heard this story, have you? Okay. So the first time I met Brad Wright, the writer, creator, showrunner of Stargate SG-1, was at a sci-fi party, right? And I'm standing there and I got introduced and we started chatting about one thing or another, and Brad was looking across the room and Tricia was wearing this strapless number, right? And she's, you know, she's looking pretty decent, as she does. She's a very attractive girl, and Brad kept looking over and he goes, oh man, do you see that? And I look over and I see he's looking at Tricia Helfer. And I go, yeah? And he goes, man, look at that. And I go, you know that's my wife. And he said, oh, yeah, I am so sorry. I am so sorry. You're messing with me. That's not your wife. And so I yell across the room, hey, Trish, you my wife? Damn right I'm your wife. I am so sorry. I am so sorry. I said, no, she just played my wife on TV, man. It's okay. That's actually how I got Stargate. So sure, I'd play Lee Majors any day of the week. Thanks. Hey, thanks for coming, guys. I appreciate it. Thanks for hanging in here this whole weekend, and I deeply appreciate the fact that you found this. I mean, I didn't know where I was going, and it's a real privilege and an honor to speak with you tonight. Thanks so much.